We're drinking warm beer thanks to John Keenan. He bought the warmest beer in probably Taiwan.
That I could find.
Yeah. So he was in a hurry. He wanted to get back, but we actually have a special guest for you tonight. So his name is Larry Keedy. We've actually talked about him quite a few times. Actually, a very close, dear friend. And we're actually happy that he's back in Taiwan.
You talk about me on the podcast?
Yeah, we've talked about you on the podcast.
What a cunt.
Yeah.
We thought he was a good friend that he hasn't even heard. Like,
yeah, exactly. I've been on the podcast and I didn't even know.
I gotta go back to the archives.
Yeah, gotta go through the archives, man. That's not just you, that's everybody.
Yeah. No, but he's I guess he's a resident artist now, but he's a fairly reputable artist, a serious artist, so he takes himself quite seriously.
Boy. I'd say I'm serious. I don't know if I'm reputable.
Well, you know what? You got to start somewhere.
I think maybe you are reputable, but you're not serious.
Yeah.
That might be a problem.
Yeah. It's the other way around.
It's all semantics.
Depends who you ask.
Absolutely. Yeah. But, we're very happy to have you on, Mr. Keedy.
Oh, and Larry might be helping us out. I actually forgot to mention this before we started, which is shit because we've been talking shit for like an hour before starting this. Yeah. But Larry might actually help us out with the design of our just Parrotcast life.
Yeah.
Like in terms of, just posters or something maybe in the future.
Some business cards.
He's in the hot seat right now.
Exactly. So. We actually should have mentioned this off air in the last hour that we've been talking shit, but we haven't. Yeah. And all of a sudden I was like, oh yeah, he could be he's going to help us out hopefully.
He could be our artistical muse.
Yeah, so if you see any changes in the some distant future that are better than what we have at the moment in terms of art form, well, then it's probably going to be Lawrence.
Yeah, it's going to be Lawrence Keedy.
It's actually Katie.
Oh, is it? It's fucking Katie.
I was going to...
I guess that kind of depends who you ask, too, but my family back in the States all says Katie.
It's the Irish thing.
Yeah.
I was actually going to say that as a joke, and then I was like, that's being a bit wanky. But I would have been justified.
Yeah, well, I guess, you can't always follow phonics rules.
Yeah, fuck that shit, Keedy, man.
Yeah, right, Keedy is phonics rule.
I think Keedy will do.
Something E-E-A-E-E.
So, I noticed,
there you go.
To go along with...
Ibrahimovic.
Yeah,
Ibrahimovic.
Yep. I noticed, John, to go along with the fucking warm beers, you bought kiwis.
10-pack of kiwi fruit, yeah.
A 10-pack of kiwi fruit.
That was the first thing I saw when I walked in the door, man. It was like $89, which is like...
Are they from New Zealand?
$3.
Yeah.
Those are more than $3.
Zespri.
Yeah, Zespri, New Zealand represent.
Yes.
But yeah, it's 10 for $89, which is a pretty good deal.
Pretty good.
That's a really good
deal. I was pretty stoked with that. So I was like, I wasn't really in the market for kiwi fruit, but I was like, fuck it.
Do you eat those with a spoon? What do you do?
I would. How's the kiwi to kiwi?
Okay, that's how I eat them, but you didn't get any spoons.
Holy shit, bro. Where are we living? Where the fuck are we living? I've literally just moved in here. Like, I've been in this house for an hour, and it's going to be my house. But, like, man, I'm not bringing cutlery or whatever the fuck. I'm pretty sure we've got a kitchen, right?
We have one spoon in the kitchen.
Is that really? You only have one spoon?
Let me go check.
We can work it out. Yeah.
We can pass it around.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, we could probably. Yeah, we could eat off the same spoon.
I'm actually completely opposite of you guys. I don't use a spoon at all. I just peel and push.
Shit.
Yeah. I eat straight out of the husk. You just scrape your teeth along it and it's fine.
Yeah, I have to say, with kiwi fruit, I definitely cut down the middle with I usually use two things. Obviously, a knife through the middle, and then spoon.
Oh man,
you should probably take a spoon, bro.
No.
Well, actually, he just said that he eats them like a fucking.
I like to dig out my kiwi.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He eats like a fucking hip. He's all hands in and shit and teeth and all that. So.
I do love a kiwi fruit. I do love a kiwi fruit.
Well, I'll tell you, man, the golden kiwis are fucking delicious.
Where do they fucking grow in Kiwi land?
Mostly, a few different places, but I guess, the key place, that probably sounded really, really bad, but it was actually just a plastic spoon hitting stone. Sounded probably like a smashed glass or something. But anyway, mostly out of the Bay of Plenty. the Bay of Plenty is the kiwi fruit kind of mecca of New Zealand. So
how big
Tauranga, Whakatane. It would be say a growing area of like a couple 100 kilometers east to west, and maybe 20 or 30 k's inland.
Nice.
So sizable place.
Do they look different
than that?
Yeah. Like
no.
You said they're golden.
Oh, the golden kiwi fruit. Sorry. So the golden is inside. It's the flesh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the kiwi fruit inside is legitimately different. It's golden,
yellow,
and green.
Never had that.
Yeah, yellow, and it's fantastic. It's much sweeter.
Yeah.
And there's no bitterness. And there's another one on the way, which I've seen in New Zealand, but I haven't seen it exported yet, called the Rosa, which is actually like a red flesh kiwi fruit.
Oh.
Yeah, so that'll probably come out in the world like in the next year or two. But yeah, it's been in development for a while. Ooh, I like what's going there.
Oh, you hardcore.
He's got a Leatherman.
Pocket knives
very
out.
Interesting because like you guys do. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
You guys do things a lot different to me.
Yeah, I'll take it.
See, I don't cut this way. I cut through this way. So I go through the equator rather than the poles.
Always cut that way.
Yeah. So this is very interesting. If you have a look at what's on the kiwi there, I'm not saying that I'm right and you're wrong, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well,
that's the way that I've been taught.
Well, your way
is what I know from my pappy.
Your way is probably even better because I have to cut through that hard part.
Yeah, exactly. Like go through the equator because we have something else called catch it, Harry. We've got another thing called a feijoa, and we eat feijoas. Most people or most countries don't. I'm aware of now, but feijoas are fucking delicious, and they're also kind of similar to a kiwi fruit in terms of. They're green on the outside. They don't look like a kiwi fruit. They don't actually really taste like a kiwi fruit. But in terms of like how you eat them, you would do the same kind of deal as this. So it's actually a South American like flower, but in New Zealand it buds and like grows legit fruit.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's tasty as fuck. You can have it as a jam and shit as well. So you have like feijoa jam or feijoa juice.
How do you spell that?
Feijoa.
It's actually with an F. So it's Feijoa, I think, feijoa.
Almost like a
Fijian.
It's
Spanish, I think, because it's South American.
I've never heard of that.
No, I've never heard of it either.
It's a fucking delicious fruit, man. Or like, it grows au natural, just like in your backyard and shit. Or many places.
I was surprised with like fruit in Taiwan because guava back at home is not the same guava you get in Taiwan.
I don't think I've ever had guava back in the States.
No, I've had guava, but the guavas you get back in the States are Mexican guavas. And it's like a kumquat. You know what a kumquat is.
I know about kumquat.
A kumquat?
Where did that come from? I was saying that for a while.
I said kumquat on a hike that we did.
Yeah, actually the three of us did a fucking
to Pinchi. That was it.
Yeah, Pinchi one. Yeah. Oh yeah, we went to the Elan or Dashi or whatever we did. And
I said,
I brought the kumquat.
I'd never heard or seen those fucking things before that trip, and I just thought it was a ridiculous name. And then I actually enjoyed that fruit. Like I actually enjoyed eating it. Like on the hike, it was really good.
I got those. I don't.
Shout out to people who know what kumquats are,
and also shout out to Beer Geek about a month ago because they had some kind of kumquat infused beer. Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it was actually pretty decent as well because again, it's not like a real in your face, slap you around taste.
Right.
So it actually worked pretty well with the beer. You know what I mean? I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good.
Nice. So, how was the United States, Larry? I know you were in the States for a little while that we haven't seen you in over 2 years, I guess. So
it was fine. It was just in Santa Fe, living with my parents.
Did you do any skiing?
No, I didn't. Good skiing in Santa Fe, but
I've skied Santa Fe before. It's nice.
Oh,
I know it. I know it well.
When you like rack up the cost of like a day pass and renting equipment, it's like I don't know.
That's it.
I like skiing, but I don't like it that much.
Well, I remember back in the day, skiing was a lot cheaper than it is now. Like skiing in the United States is outrageously expensive. Like a lift ticket now is like $150 for maybe 2 or 3 days.
Oh wow! Yeah, I don't think Santa Fe's that much. I think it's. I imagine it's probably about $100 for the full day.
This
and
was
then rentals maybe 30, 40.
This was in like Dillon in like Colorado. So, and Dillon is probably a bit more expensive just because there's like 4 or 5 resorts there and they're
Right.
all connected.
Yeah.
So they can actually charge something a little bit more expensive because you can hike quite a few different places. Ski quite a few different places. But, yeah, I like skiing. Have you ever skied in New Zealand, John?
Snowboarded once or twice, but I've never skied.
Yeah.
I have a few friends that are pretty into snowboarding.
Yeah. I snowboarded one time in my life, and I spent the entire day on my ass. So I was like, "Fuck this."
Yeah, actually, that sounds pretty much like the day I had.
I prefer snowboarding.
Really?
But I think for me, it's one of those things.
I don't have any skateboard culture though.
No,
so
I'm
like a ball sport.
Right. I've never been.
My
that's never been my thing either. I've
my
never
ability
skateboarded.
is pretty rat shit. It's actually non-existent.
Well, my thing, I can only get going straight, and then anytime I wanted to turn, I couldn't find like my balance very well. So I was like, "Wow, I'm gonna end up on my ass." So I ended up just doing like this, like shimmy shuffle all the way down the mountain. So I was like, "No."
I'm pretty decent. Like I'll go down the blues and really cruise
Nice.
and carve turns and stuff.
Nice.
But my whole thing is just after a while you get to a certain point and you're pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to get better, you have to do it a lot.
Right.
And it's like, skiing once or twice a year.
Right.
You're not really working on anything.
No.
I mean that can be fun too. It's just not.
Yeah, of course.
Not my thing. I'd want to spend a season
Yeah.
somewhere
And perfecting it.
and get better at it. And stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to have a couple of friends. Shout out Pat Morrissey, who used to like live in the winters in like kind of like ski resort areas or like ski
Right,
towns.
and that's how you
ski
get good
fields.
at it.
Yeah.
I think that's when it
They just-
becomes interesting.
They never went to uni or anything, as far as I'm aware, and they just hit that shit, and they just do seasonal work, And it was all based around snowboarding for like 5 to 10 years, probably after high school.
I had a friend that did that too. He went like during the wintertime, like he just didn't do university for a year. He took like a gap year basically, and he like moved to Colorado. Well, he moved to Vail, and he got hired by like the Vail, whatever you want to call it, I guess Vail Mountain, and just ran a chairlift for like 4 or 5 months. But they put you up in like a Vail employee dormitory. So he's like, I lived in a dormitory with like 20 or 30 different other college students, male and female, like intersex, and he's like, it was like a mini like college there kind of.
Right.
So he's like, it was a great vibe. So and then you only work, like they shut down the mountain at like 3 or 3:30, and then you're on the mountain by yourself till 5.
Right.
So you can just do whatever the fuck you
And
want.
that's how you get better at it.
Yeah,
after
absolutely.
a certain point. I mean, if you do it twice a year,
Mm-hmm.
you basically spend a day
Yep.
getting back to where you left off, and then you spend a day getting a little better, but then the next year you're kind of back where you started.
Yep. I haven't skied. The last time I skied in Utah. Was it Utah? No, sorry. Yes, Nevada. Different state. But yeah, completely different state. But
Geographically close.
Yeah, geographically close, but not the same place. But yeah, we skied Tahoe, which is it's nice. Tahoe's a really cool place. So, but we stayed in Reno. So shout out Reno, biggest little city in the world.
I've never been.
You've never been?
No.
I know John's never been.
Yeah.
You've never been to the States, have you?
Never been.
Weird.
Touch wood, hopefully never will.
You don't want to ever go to Jesus Christ.
No, just kidding.
Oh, man. All this time I thought I would convert John to come and visit the United States, but maybe not.
To convert me to American entity?
Yeah, American entity.
Yeah, no, not yet.
No, you're not there yet. Well, we've
Agnostic.
got some pretty wacky views sometimes, so happens. Speaking of that, I guess, Larry, you've lived in the States most recently. What was the vibe in the United States since you were last there? I guess you've been out for a year.
I mean, it was, I was there.
Obama was still in office.
Right, Obama was still in office. I was there for the whole...
Sorry, just for the record, Larry's come from Korea.
Yeah,
For like a
yeah, Larry was in Korea for a year.
So
Wow.
I mean, the election happened while I was
Yeah.
in Korea.
Mm. They were doing campaigning while you were in the States, though.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Don't get me started on that.
We've had a long discussion
What a
about
fucking
that.
surprise. So we're talking about Larry not being in the States for a fucking long time. And they were campaigning there. Right? No fucking shit.
They were.
It's like they were in full swing already.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I was in Santa Fe, and my exposure to that, I was living with my parents and kind of dealing with family stuff. So my exposure to that was the same as yours, is all via social media, basically.
Right. New Mexico's blue down there, right, in the southwest. It's a blue state.
Yes, New Mexico went blue.
It's also, is that the state of Gary Johnson?
Yeah, that's where Gary Johnson was.
So like the libertarian dude that used to run the place for a while, right? And he became a libertarian presidential nominee or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you're a blue state though as well. Interesting.
I honestly don't have much connection to New Mexico, so I'm not very well informed.
This is kind of
but I do know they have gone. They do tend to go blue. And
I think it's the cities that go blue, but parts of the state are actually pretty red, like outside of the city. But like where most of the population is Santa Fe. Actually, I think Santa Fe is very, very blue.
It's high altitude, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, like Mexicans are generally quite used to like warm weather and shit, and obviously it has like some, pretty harsh winters. So there's no doubt they turn blue.
There's a massive Native American population.
No, I
there
got that.
I let it go. Come on. Larry and I both were just kind of like,
took me like 2
does
seconds.
he not know? Does he not know it's not really Mexico? Yeah, no. There's a massive Native American population there that probably votes blue, I would imagine.
Right, and a massive Hispanic population.
Yeah, exactly.
That
There's
goes
that as
blue.
well. Yeah.
But I do know. Gosh, I don't feel very qualified to talk that much about New Mexico, but we do have like good family friends that I'd say are sort of Republican / libertarian. And they hold a lot of those views.
Yeah.
And they complain about the Electoral College and how basically they don't really get a say.
Yeah.
Right.
So
when if you look
blue, it's a blue state, but like Gary Johnson was the governor. I'm not sure if he was 1-term governor, 2-term.
I think he was. I have no idea.
But yeah,
actually.
Sorry, I should know.
I 1 or 2.
I haven't read that, but I mean, he's a libertarian. I mean, he's the Libertarian Party presidential nominee, yada yada. So it's like that's pretty like legit, like libertarian person that was your governor, and at the state level.
Right.
So those people could kind of there must be obviously be that kind of like left right yin yang thing going on.
There's probably more like classical liberalism in New Mexico than
what the fuck do people do in New Mexico?
First of all, in response to you, Chad, I really don't know that much about it. So I do know that per capita, New Mexico has more guns. I think.
Really?
I think it's like top 3 or something.
Wow.
Just because it's kind of out there.
They're like shotguns and shit.
Well,
so
hunting rifles.
For hunting and stuff, yeah.
So it's not really like sidearm shit, right? It's more just like your ranches and shit.
I know though that...
No idea, but I do know like my family friends, Tom and Linda, they own like 40 guns. Like they're big like gun collectors.
Yeah.
I thought I had one.
But they're like hard into like home protection and stuff. Like they keep loaded guns around the house and all that. and they don't do any hunting anymore. And they have like they have like sniper rifles and shit. I've gone out shooting with them.
And they're running protection for Heisenberg and shit, right? So I mean, there's a bit of shit going down there.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
Sorry, what did you say?
I actually was like, what the fuck do people do in New Mexico? I mean, I don't mean that in
like economically.
Yeah, just sort of like to get a gauge of like that like left-right side of things. Like most people just small business, or most people farmers. Or
I really don't have much to say on that. I don't really know.
I'd say
there's quite a few farmers.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of agriculture there.
There wouldn't really be a huge public service going on there, right? Most people would be kind of like independent kind of people. If you know what I mean.
Been through the
reason
eastern
maybe
part.
why libertarianism is like maybe kind of solid there.
I've been extensively through the eastern part of New Mexico.
So.
Like the eastern part of New Mexico is predominantly like cattle.
You know what there is a lot of in New Mexico is national defense.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so I'm totally wrong.
White Sands
like
missile range.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of there's a lot of military and a lot of military research there.
So that's where it blew.
Like the first atomic bomb was detonated.
A lot of
good point. Yeah. So there is actually a lot of like defense spending there, which kind of leads to government thinking and like blue thinking, kind of.
Yeah.
And then, but there's also independent people just being, kind of off the grid.
Yeah. New Mexico and Nevada are similar states to me. Like Nevada is a bit like New Mexico, but I think New Mexico is probably more beautiful. But don't quote me on that.
I really haven't. I don't think I've been through Nevada.
It's got green peppers, bitch.
We call them green chilies.
Yeah, green chilies is actually correct.
Fucking you guys. Well, I'd probably call it.
I do love green chili.
That is a big thing in New Mexico. Everyone talks about
growing chilies.
Chilies are capsicums, though, right?
No, they are not. Green chilies do not taste like capsicums.
They do a little.
They are a bit.
They do
but
taste
not
a little bit, but they're like spicy capsicum.
Yeah.
Spicy capsicum. Yeah. Okay.
But you can get like a mild, medium, and spicy.
Peppers.
But even like a mild green chili is going to be spicier than a capsicum.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't know what a capsicum is, folks, it's a bell pepper or a green pepper. That's just what everyone in New Zealand or Australia. Maybe I don't even think England calls it that though.
I don't know.
England calls it a green pepper, I think.
Yeah, no, we're pretty fucked up. We take our lead for vegetables generally from the French. So fuck it.
Really? Oh yeah. Because
honestly, we do.
Learn this. So eggplant in like the rest of English speaking world is an aubergine.
Aubergine.
I had never fucking heard that until I ran into a British person. They're like,
"Yeah,
can you hand me that aubergine?"
I actually didn't know that until just now.
Really?
You said it, yeah.
Yeah, an aubergine.
I think maybe that term came up before, and I was just like, oh.
I learned that one from a British roommate, Jamie. Shout out to Jamie.
And we call zucchinis courgette.
I had never heard that word.
I've heard that.
It's all French. Or like we just go French on our vegetables.
Yeah, why do you guys do that? You guys are bowing down to your French overlords. So
I don't know. I think
it's
part of what real British culture is.
Ooh, a subtle dig. Yeah, I guess we tried to kill off any British influence that we could after we got our fucking independence. Nobody?
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good luck to you.
Yeah. So
it's worked out really well.
Yeah. Well,
you guys are at the apex right now. Yes.
Well, I guess we are leading
touching
the world.
Pussy, kicking ass.
Touching pussy, kicking ass. Yeah, who knows?
Peeking.
Who actually knows what's gonna happen with the United States? So some people would argue that we're in our decline right now.
The decline and fall of the American Empire, right?
Yeah, but
sounds like a book that's been written before.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that's kind of the soapbox that people are on right now. Well, especially if you're of like a liberal mindset or a very blue mindset, you think that maybe the United States is in its decline, whereas maybe if you're in a Republican or maybe a red mindset, like you're like, we're on the up and up now, like we're going to take our jobs back.
I think that's the classic thing to look at though, whenever you look back at history and you try and project forward with it or look at analogies, is like the quintessential analogy there is Rome, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how weak actually militarily was Rome at the time? It became basically like a non-citizenship army. It became a mercenary army.
Right.
It became pretty much like a slave to mercenary soldiers who weren't really in it for the fight.
Right.
And they were actually bossed by sort of superior, bigger, fucking more athletic tribes of like Germans, essentially.
Right.
Or Huns.
Who essentially were fighting for freedom in a sense. Or just not to be like
fighting for marauding, essentially. Fighting to just get in there and like get a piece of it. Like to be pirates, basically. And it's like nobody in any conceivable way can say that America is under any kind of threat like that.
No.
You're under threat in terms of losing dominance or leadership in certain areas.
Maybe economic dominance.
Militarily, fucking get out of here.
Yeah.
Right.
No fucking way. And it's just, it's not foreseeable even in our lifetime. Like in our lifetimes, you know, like it doesn't matter. Like no one's spending the kind of money that you guys spend. No one has the GDP that you guys have. So it's like a double win, or like it's a double entrenchment of what it is.
Right.
And also, the military of today, the 21st century, is not a military of excessive numbers.
Right.
Like,
it's all
no one really gives a fuck about like having like say 200 million fucking dudes in reserve. It's like you know, within reason, it's like we drop a few like tactical bombs here and there, like they're all taken care of.
Right.
You just need specialist ops. You need special ops guys.
Right.
You need special fucking ops missions
with technology,
you know, air forces essentially, you know, carriers, whatever. The world doesn't have it. Like, it's amazing when you actually look at what the world has,
right,
in terms of a military versus America.
It's
staggering. It's an absolute just like staggering. You know, when you look back in history, or when historians look back at this time, they will look back at that military power and be like, it was so overwhelming that people actually didn't even think about it.
Right.
If you know what I mean? Like, it's just so in your face, middle finger right up to your nose, fuck you, you're not doing shit unless I allow you to do it, that people actually forget that there's this massive finger that's like pretty much a joystick on the nose saying, you do this, or you don't do this.
Right.
It's like, people will look back at this time and be like, how did they have the internet? And this idea of like something bigger than nation states, like the United Nations. How did they have all this shit and not actually do anything with it? It's like, oh yeah, America. Like, America is the big fucking thing that no one talks about, and it's just like, you know, America's not that important. It's like, fuck man, America tells you if you sleep comfortably at night or not.
Imagine if the States just disappeared overnight.
Oh, I know.
You know, which is supposed to be part of this retrenchment of Trump, right? Like, you know, imagine
he did run on that.
If you actually kind of went back inside your borders, built the wall, and shut the fuck up. But no way.
But the threat of military force is still there.
Oh, of course.
Like, that doesn't disappear.
Well, if you
the doctrine though is too appealing to like any politician, any American politician that gets into power. Your doctrine of like, control the two oceans, so control the Pacific Ocean, control the Atlantic Ocean, have Canada as basically, you know, you just, you know, the client, the suppliant, fucking ally,
the buffer.
You know, have Mexico as maybe dysfunctionally, like in a drug sense and like in an immigration sense, but still relatively solid dude down south.
Right.
Just have that, and nobody's coming close. No one's touching the homeland.
Yeah.
No.
Or not touching the homeland in any kind of real way other than like dirty bomb way.
Well, I think what was staggering, like just knowing anything about other militaries, the next closest military to the United States is China, which is obviously where we live. Is big brother.
Sorry, it's China.
China.
Pretty sure it's China.
Chad, it's not where we live.
Oh, it's I'm saying it's closest to where we live.
Hey man, we're the guardians, man.
We're the real China.
Fuck that shit. We're the real China.
But like I think China just said something about them. They're in the process of building a brand new aircraft carrier. I've got one. I just opened one. Thank you. They're in the process of building a brand new aircraft carrier, and they have one aircraft carrier currently that is a refurbished unit, like Japanese or I can't remember what unit, but it's a World War II model.
That's good.
And I was like, I wonder where the U.S. is.
Have you seen that fucking thing? That bad boy has like a half pipe thing on it.
Yes, well. Like it shoots like a plane.
I have seen that photo.
Yeah, this is like legit.
That's the new
military. This is the second biggest military in the world that Jad's talking about.
Yeah,
right. Just remember.
And like you have to ride a half pipe to get into the air off their aircraft carriers, but. Like, I'm not comparing dick size or anything, but...
Like, but you are.
Well, I mean... Again, it's just like nobody... Like, everybody's like too polite to think about it, but like, historically, they'll look back and be like, you know what? Like, that's the fucking... Like, the power was just so fucking overwhelming that everybody just kind of ignored it and just like... It's only talked about kind of like softly, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, politically of like... You can't do anything without our blessing, basically. You guys are the godfathers of the world right now.
I read a really like it was enlightening, disturbing, and fascinating all in the same like moment. So, but they were basically like talking about within means how many wars the United States could actually wage in the world and like not be spread too thin. And I can't remember the exact number of how many aircraft carriers, but they essentially said like an aircraft carrier has the potential to launch like a full blown like war in most nation states around the world. Yeah. So if there are essentially 10 aircraft carriers that the United States has, you can fight 10 wars.
Yeah.
So every aircraft carrier gives you the ability to basically go into a country and fight a war.
But what about winning a war? I mean, I imagine doing that requires ground troops.
Yeah, certainly, right. And that's part of the problem as well.
And also, like, it's like there's that whole thing. Like, again, this is a podcast that I keep thinking to bring up, and I always only ever do it in the middle of the podcast. But it's this thing about buy-in. This whole idea of like somebody has to actually be told, like, or they can't. Like, you can tell me that my country's lost a war. You can do that, that's alright. But it's until I actually accept it and believe it myself that like the war is finished.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
And that is the new reality of like what things are or like where the world is at.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And the thing is, so America can potentially be involved in 2 wars, 5 wars, 10 wars at one time.
Right.
But the thing is, like, if you like do that, it's kind of like, well, they actually have to have buy-in. They actually have to believe that they've been defeated.
Right.
If you know what I mean.
Right.
If they want to hide out in the hills, if they want to do dirty bombs, etc., then they can. There's so much of a template to show.
Certainly.
Like how you actually play that game. If you know what I mean.
Look at the wars that the United States are currently not involved in, like Afghanistan. Like there's still American troops in Afghanistan. So and who knows how long we'll actually be in that country. But it's completely based off of, this is just any time, excuse me guys, I had a burp, but this is completely based off of the kind of wars that the new enemy will fight, and it's kind of an insurgency-based war where like, now you see me, now you don't, like you actually don't know where the line is drawn and who is who.
Guerrilla warfare.
Exactly. So, which is you know, there's nothing new there. I mean, that's a tactic that Americans did against the British.
It's mild,
and the British have done against the French.
I think you could say that it's been upgraded. Like you could call it maybe like 3.0 or 4.0 or whatever. Like if you wanted to go back to say the militaries of America versus the British or whatever as your start, then we're probably at 4.0, 5.0 in terms of an upgrade of that.
Right.
So every guerrilla tactic kind of gets a bit better.
Right.
In terms of being able to cross borders, like like Afghanistan at the moment. It's an absolute dime bag in terms of that. It's like, you can go into Pakistan and fucking things up there. It can fuck things up in Afghanistan. It can push into the actual Middle East if it wants to. It's a complete rogue.
When the United States, like, they had, like, firm rules, you do not go into Pakistan at all. So if an insurgency, like, resides in Pakistan, they come in and do a little, like, fighting or whatever in Afghanistan. You fight them up until they get into Pakistan, and then after that, you just can't touch them because they're currently not in the nation that you're waging war on.
Yeah.
So, which one day I hope my brother-in-law will be coming to visit. He can tell us actually quite a bit more about that. Maybe a little bit about his mercenary ship in Iraq, which would be a pretty interesting conversation. He's got a lot to add to a conversation.
So your brother was an actual like mercenary.
Yeah, he was a mercenary in Iraq. So he did a tour in Afghanistan, a tour in Iraq, and then he came back home, went to uni. Needed to get some more money, so he's like, "Well, I was a fucking soldier. I was a paratrooper."
Why is that cool? So he went in and did mercenary for a couple of different like tours, and then
But why did he go from soldier to mercenary?
He had been in the military for, I guess it was 5 or 6 years. I'm putting words in his mouth, but I think it's 5 or 6 years. He can straighten the record, and then like it was time for him to either renew or whatever, and he went in whenever he was 18. So I think he was 23 or 4. And they're like, "Do you want to renew?" He's like, "No, I'm out." Like,
is that because renewing is like a 4-year gig or whatever?
Yeah, it's like a 4-year gig, and I think because he went in like unenlisted. Like, do you know about the military? So there's 2 ways to go in. So you can go in with previous university experience and go in enlisted. I'm sorry, unenlisted.
Okay.
And then you can go in without any university experience, and you're an enlisted guy. Enlisted guys have lower ranks usually.
Right.
If you go in unenlisted, then basically what happens is you kind of like skip some of the ranks and you start at a higher rank because you've got. I guess they equivalent it to like life experience or something like that. Also, you've got some kind of like. You've learned some kind of technical ability that might give you an edge on the battlefield or something like that. But anyways, like I'm kind of paraphrasing what actually probably happens in the military, but just for the sake of quickly explaining it, he went in as an enlisted guy, went through like basic and stuff, did his stint. He was with the 82nd Airborne, I think is what it is, which is, if you look out throughout the history of the 82nd Airborne, that's like, they traditionally ride along with the Army Rangers. So I've still got one right here.
Is that the 101 or the 82nd?
They're the 82nd and the 101st. Like they're kind of the same thing. Oh. So they probably have different specialities as far as paratrooping in, but like he can probably specify what actually happened. But anyways, like,
sorry, can like I would say like. That's where like American military really has to go though, right? Like you guys kind of almost need to trim down how many people are in the service, but make exceptional soldiers that can actually go into like tough times, because like your 10 aircraft carriers can win 10 wars in like a month or whatever. But I'm just saying, you know, like that's the theory, right? But then you actually need like literally hundreds of thousands of actually skilled operatives to stay the course and actually make it work once you've won the game, if you know what I mean. Because you win the game, but then the game doesn't actually stop because the other side doesn't buy that it lost. It has lost, everything's destroyed, you're in all the fucking cities, but it's like, nah, bitch, yeah, I'm coming back. Like, yeah, you killed my fucking wife, you killed my daughter, whatever, I'm coming for blood. Like, you need the people to be able to respond and react and like integrate into that.
Right, while the government's getting set up.
Well, I mean, like, you kind of need like a smaller super soldier. Like, kind of outfit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, you don't really need 1 million people, you probably need more like just 200,000 like really kick-ass, like, ultimate fighters, basically.
Like right now, like I know with the military, because obviously we don't have conscription services right now, so people are enlisting. You're experiencing the American Kiwi style, so it's actually not too bad, is it?
So, Chad.
Well, you gotta dig your teeth in.
Why is it your brother-in-law?
Yeah, my brother.
Why did he sign up as a mercenary instead of a enlist?
Basically, what happened was he finished his enlistment, and they asked him if he wanted to renew, and he was like, "No, I'm going to go to university." And also, the United States military will give you like a pretty nice bonus to go into university after you finish your service. So he went in and did like 2 years, and I think because he went to a private school in Fort Worth called TCU, which is pretty expensive, and I think he ran, because it's like a set amount that the military will give you. I think it's about $30,000 US. I think he'd either gone through it, because I mean obviously life gets in the way. Like he had to pay for rent, he had to pay for books and like tuition fees and all kinds of stuff. $30,000 only goes so far, especially at a private college. But anyways, went and he was like, I need money. So he basically took he was with my sister at this time, and he was like, I'm gonna take like a gap year, and I'm gonna go and do what I know what I've done in the past, and basically applied to a company called Blackwater, and he had to go to
a U.S. company.
It's an American-based company in Virginia, and like they
live a SARD past.
Yeah, if you know anything about mercenaries, like they employ tons of like ex-special forces. You don't even have to necessarily be special forces, but like they prefer infantrymen. just like guys who know how to use a weapon.
So what's the deal? Like the U.S. government hires these people out to do security operations.
Exactly. So like what he primarily was doing was he was stationed on a base in Iraq, like an American military base, but they had like a separate barrack for them, and like there was no like commanding officer or anything like that. They just had like posts. And they said, all right. So today we're going to be moving a Saudi national who's apparently high up the pecking order. We got some orders coming down from the CIA. They don't want to assign any military to this, or the military is getting the fuck out. So
why do they not want to assign military?
Because
think of what happens when someone dies.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what it is. Like as a mercenary, it doesn't have to be recorded as like an American death.
When Chad's brother-in-law dies for his country, everyone gives a fuck.
Yeah.
If he's there making money, no one cares so much, right?
God, that's crazy. I honestly, this is the first that because I did read an article like 4 years ago about this, but I didn't look into it further. You know.
So like contracting out deaths, basically.
So basically,
because they're basically over there as U.S. military.
Yeah,
it's just not. It's just not official.
He was U.S. military, but he was just.
They're basically doing U.S. military jobs.
He doesn't get the fucking coffin casket shit.
Yeah, exactly. So
if it goes wrong,
he just gets mailed home. So. But anyways, yeah, he went over.
I like this story. No offense, but like I think we'll definitely talk to your brother when he comes.
Yeah.
So we should sort of like
segue off of this so we don't put too much
because
we don't want to say too much.
I think we'll probably
correct.
Yeah,
rehash this ground and like really want to like flesh it out of him. If you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
Because I think I'm not saying that you're not doing him justice or anything like that, but like there's just no point speaking for the man if you know what I mean.
If he's gonna come on,
yeah, exactly right,
absolutely.
And I feel like we will have him on, in the next month or two, right?
I think he
when would he be coming?
He'll be in May.
Well, there you go. So 2 months from now, right?
Yeah,
Paracast. Drop it like it's hot. Got fucking.
Yeah.
We got a fucking big guest. There you
go. Also,
if you like that story, then great. If you didn't like that story, well,
you know what? We're gonna fucking leave you cold turkey there. I'm not gonna tell you anything else because, like, I'm sorry. I'll tell you off air. But
yeah, exactly.
No, I think that'd be cool to have him on.
Yeah, no, like I think it would be a side that people
like he's got
don't know fuck all about what mercenaries can actually do.
Exactly right. I think we've gotten to a point where it's like set up for that to be unleashed.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean, by the man himself.
And I'm pretty sure he'd be pretty happy to talk about it as well, just because like I've talked to him about like previous things that happened because he was also in. If you have Netflix, sorry. Just one more thing, then I'll be done. Like,
we're done, but we weren't done.
Yeah, if you have Netflix, he's actually in a book as well. So there was a guy that was embedded with them that wrote a book about his particular unit and sold it in the U.S. I think it was called Into the Viper's Nest. That is what it's called.
All right, cool.
And he gets like an interview, and this actually wasn't. This wasn't while he was a mercenary, but it was while he was in the Konagal Valley, which is in Afghanistan.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was thinking like shit. Like, was it that Restrepo? Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, it's the exact same thing.
But it's different unit.
Well, it's like Restrepo is in the Konagal Valley.
Yeah, I thought so.
But like his unit, like
it's
I asked him about it. And he was like, "Fuck." He was like, I was only a few miles from where that was.
I've seen Restrepo.
He's like, I knew some of the guys in that shit.
I've seen that movie, and it was like pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So I'll try and find that. Well, I'll ask you again, and definitely watch that movie before.
Yeah.
We meet Jason, right?
Yeah, Jason. That's his name, Jason Murray.
Cool, Jason. Hopefully.
I have to get him amped up to have him on. He's a pretty shy guy.
Oh, fuck, man.
We'll these 18-day Taiwan beers.
Exactly, man.
Yeah, that got me in the zone.
we'll get him down at Beer Geek, and it'll be fucking over before it started. I'm not so sure, man. It's like, okay, just have a pint.
Yeah. You'll be okay.
Right? Yeah,
trust me. You'll loosen up. So, yeah. But, so, Larry, I want to talk to you about what you're doing right now in art.
Oh.
So, like, I know that you've got something coming out in the next few weeks, really, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you got going on?
Well, it's Young Art Taipei, which is a art fair.
Give the brother a shout out.
Right. That's what I'm doing.
This is the ultimate shout out.
Yeah, exactly. This is what he's all about. This is just meat.
Meat and potatoes.
It's an art fair at the I think it's at the Sheraton. I sent you the dates earlier. Yep. I don't remember them.
It's the 14th to 16th.
14th to 16th.
Sheraton, like it.
Yep.
And basically, they clear. Last time I did it, they cleared 2 floors of the Sheraton, and galleries will basically rent out a room, and they can do it whatever they want with it. They can show 1 artist, they can show 5, they can show 10, and yeah, it's an art fair. And I'll be showing some work there.
Nice. Yeah, get it done. Like come to the Sheraton.
It's called Young Art Taipei. So I think there is an age cutoff, maybe like 45 or something. And I was talking to the guy who owns the gallery that's representing me, and they're basically saying last time we did this, to rent out a room was about 100,000 NT. So a little over $3,000, and for normal art fairs, if they do it at like an exhibition center or something, it's like $1 million NT. So that's the reason they do it at a hotel. Is the price point's lower, so they can do stuff like this, which like younger artists. And you don't have to sell that much to cover your costs.
Yeah, I've actually heard this about hotels. Like not just even art. Like I guess it has been primarily art, but since the first time you did that. Like, what would that have been, like 3 years ago? 2 years ago?
I think it was almost 3, wasn't it?
Might be 3.
Yeah, I think it was 3. Yeah,
3.
I think since
2
then,
or 3.
Yeah, I've heard about like hotel levels being essentially taken up as like exhibition space. For,
right. Well,
not even art, just expo
anything.
Space. Yeah,
anything. Because it literally is 10% of the price.
Yeah.
Right. So, just for example, like my gallery owner has to pay a little over $3,500 US, or a little under $3,500 US. So if he sells over that, he makes a profit, right? Then if you're doing an exhibition center, that's $30,000 US to rent out a spot. So you have to show, different. Caliber artist.
I think that's when old and established artists.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Young artists at the hotel, and you have old and established artists at the exhibition center.
That's the deal. So.
Certainly. Well, I've
play your cards right, Larry. Yeah, and you'll be an old category. Yeah, you'll be an old cat someday, and they'll.
But if I play my cards real right, I'll do both. Because I'll get there before I'm 45.
That's true.
Ooh, good goal.
True.
It's a good goal. Yeah.
So, can you give us any insight into the art scene in Taipei? Like, I know you've been a little bit out of the game for the last few years, but
I
were here,
I would say I was never really in the game. I don't know much about it. Last time I lived in Taipei, we were doing those.
One-off, like, 3 guys.
The 3 guys show with Yumi and Jamie.
Right.
They just kind of...
out of a person's apartment.
Yeah, it's like a fun party.
And, exactly. And what about down in Taichung?
Taichung, like, maybe a bit... Maybe
any particular places that used to like monthly
at the Lei Gallery.
Sorry, what?
The Lei Gallery in Taichung, run by John Renzawa. Shout out, famous printmaker here.
Yeah, that kind
and we had shows from. I'd say the majority of shows are pretty. Maybe not professional artists, but we have had definitely professional artists show there.
Hit and miss and no one cares. It's practice.
But I've definitely been to the Young Art Taipei, and if you're living in the Taipei, really Taiwan, you should check it out. It was a really good show. There's a lot of people there. So
I think it's pretty interesting.
You get exposure to some really, really fantastic art.
It's good variety, I think.
You also see a lot of shit art too. Yeah. But
right.
I mean,
like if you're down in Pingdong and like you were tempted to potentially come to Beer Geek, as you might have said once or twice, this would definitely be the weekend to do that. Yes, then you can like kill 2 big ass vultures with one stone.
Yeah, you've got 2 things to do.
2 eagles with one stone.
Yeah, from the 14th through the 16th, you can go to Beer Geek. And then you can fucking go see Young Art Taipei, or you can do the other
way.
So I think
other way around, probably.
Well, I think Young Art's open in the afternoon.
Although you could get maggot on a Friday night at Beer Geek, and then like hungover go to the Sheraton.
Yeah, you could go sleep in the Songshan Cultural Park.
There you go.
Yeah. I've never actually slept there.
Yeah. Well, you got to watch out. Sometimes they insecticide that motherfucker.
Oh, do they?
That was an aborted podcast.
Oh fuck yeah, you're right. Yeah, that wasn't.
I mean, I wonder how bad that stuff is to breathe in.
It's not good.
You know,
it's bad enough for them to fucking clear everybody out of the area.
Well,
it's not good, man.
But that's the thing. Like in South,
fuck out of here.
When I was in South Korea, they didn't clear anyone out. They just did it every week. You'd have a truck go around and just be this huge, big fog would go over everything.
It's just kimchi, bro.
But like that stuff is said to like kill mosquitoes on contact, like touching the mosquito.
Oh yeah, no, you'll be fine.
Drops
You'll be
dead.
fine. There'll be no repercussions for that.
Well, you know, they stopped spraying DEET like that, which is what that is. They stopped spraying DEET like that in the United States in the 60s. So maybe Korea is a little behind the curve.
But maybe, maybe it's like a different formula. I have no idea. I haven't looked into it at all.
Well, like I said, I actually said to Larry about this last time. This came up a week or 2 ago. Somehow we came across this.
Yeah, we did.
But I was saying, like how we were in Singapore, and you remember how we were on that rooftop at that backpackers. When we were there at Singapore, and we were like, "Hey man, there's like no mosquitoes in this place. It's so great." And it was like, "Oh yeah, it's supposed to get like nuked by like helicopters or whatever the fuck." Like And I was just like, "Oh, so like we're pretty much in the middle of just like a
war zone,
just a dead mosquito zone because like they just." Monsoon bucket basically from a helicopter to the fucking area or whatever.
Have you guys heard about that? They haven't done it, but they've tested. There's like some sort of genetic thing that you can do with mosquitoes and put them out into the wild, and it's theoretically meant to like over the course of a couple years, I think, wipe out the species because they can't reproduce.
Yeah.
But they haven't done that. They haven't done it on like a large scale
because they're not sure
debating,
how it will affect.
Right, you don't know what effects it's going to have.
Right,
but
seems
people
seems like some of those Nazi eugenics scientists doing good work, or like
people that are pro, what I don't know what it's called, but pro this. Mm-hmm. Basically say that look, mosquitoes really don't have any function in the food chain.
Right.
Not like flies pollinate plants and stuff. Mosquitoes don't do anything. That's what they say.
It's a big call to say that, but like,
right?
I
agree.
Go with it, but things are very
I think where I might have some questions for that. Like I'm obviously like my opinion isn't made on that, but like I think where I would probably ask some questions is, so yes, we find them as nuisances, but how much do they actually control like animal populations that we might find a nuisance as well by them contracting certain diseases? Like
and that's one.
Who knows? They might affect the rat population.
One side of the possible consequences. I don't feel qualified to speak on this at all, but I would be very interested to hear a biologist or something talk about it.
I think as a real easy like cost benefit analysis, if you want to really simplify it down, you're like, man, you're completely like parasitizing me. If you know what I mean, like I'm getting nothing from you. You're in my room somewhere and you're sucking my blood. Right, it seems like a bad deal. Right, but I think you're totally right, Chad. In terms of like there's that classic like there's known knowns, there's known unknowns, there's unknown unknowns, etc. It's like no one actually really knows what every fucking species in this fucking like this thing is doing. Right, if you know what I mean. It's like no one has a fucking clue on it until it dies. Right. So until it becomes extinct.
But having said that, I listened to this podcast maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I don't remember what it was on, but the guy who was talking about it was a biologist, and he like had me pretty convinced, you know.
That you don't.
But that's the thing. Like, I don't know shit. Right. Like I'd love to talk to someone who's qualified, who's pro and against it. You know,
extremely callous. Like think of like how is like malaria like moved in the world.
Yeah, I mean it's
like just to actually even think about humans and how much human death there has been and is right now.
Haven't they cut that down by like 50% within the last 10 years or something?
But what's
like,
the vector? Huge. What's the vector there?
I think it's still mosquitoes, right?
Exactly, like primarily. So it's like when you're talking about like, having this idea of like controlling the zebra population or controlling the
you have to weigh exactly.
Man, it's controlling the human population within reason, if you know what I mean as well. It's
so basically
you eradicate mosquitoes all of a sudden. No offense, I know it's a horrible thing, but it's like, man, like maybe one of the biggest causes of human death right now is eradicated, and it's like that's a good result.
So in that sense, you would have to weigh the consequences.
We're not dropping that one so late.
You'd have to weigh the consequences of human deaths to the potential consequences of eliminating the mosquito.
And also, and
that is unknown.
Something
more or less,
far more important than that, Larry. Zebras. Why are we not eating zebras? I just thought about that. There must be some fucking good cuts on a zebra.
I think they're pretty gamey.
Why are we not eating zebras?
I think they're pretty gamey.
I mean, I eat a zebra.
I probably eat a zebra.
Well, wouldn't you say it's just a cuter horse?
Yeah.
It's a cuter horse.
Well, that's good.
Well, I mean, like, what's the difference between eating a horse and a pig?
They eat horse all the time, man.
I think pigs are like just
Canada,
delicious.
In Canada, they're
so there's no moral difference.
Yeah.
But imagine, like, if we cut off the nuts of the zebra and, like, fattened it up like a little steer, like, get them all fat, like, grass-fed them.
Alright, I don't have any qualms about eating animals. Period.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I just thought of the zebra thing. It's kind of like, you know what? I kind of wouldn't mind eating some zebra.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to happen in the near future, but I'm going to fucking do it if I can.
Talk to your the next Sappho you run into. Ask him how it tastes.
That's
I'm pretty sure it's pretty gamey.
No,
that's why they don't fucking eat it.
I like gamey though. I like fucking deer. And
I'm pretty sure it's like fucking swamp.
No, I think you're right. It must pretty much. It's just
pretty
a
guttural,
jacked horse.
Yeah, exactly.
It's used to running away from lions.
Yeah,
it's probably not that gamey.
Probably not.
Meaty, delicious.
Yeah, no. Probably not all that good. It's pretty tough, I think.
Still wouldn't mind eating one.
Well, you heard it here, guys. John would eat a fucking zebra.
I'd fucking eat a dolphin, man. Straight up.
Whoa! Dolphins, man.
Would you eat a dog?
I would, but not happily.
Right.
What about a cat?
No. Do it to a cat, man. Cats. Just think of cats that it's vomity. Like, it makes me feel like I generally don't take a shit, or like I only shit about once a week, as it is. But like, I feel like a cat would make me like piss shit. If you know what I mean. Like I'd eat that meat and I'd just go straight through me.
I think
it's just not a sexy piece
I think a cat and a rabbit are about the same. Like there's just not going to be.
I love rabbit, bro. I fucking love rabbit.
Rabbit's good, but I think they probably taste similar. But I don't think you're going to get a lot of meat. No, like a rabbit, if you shoot a rabbit, you know you can actually die from eating rabbit because you don't get enough.
I have heard that because it's too hard to digest.
Yeah, no, you need to slow cook it. You slow cook it for 8 hours. You slow cook that bad boy. Rabbit stew, casserole, rabbit ragu. So it's like you can't fucking barbecue that.
All right, so that was because I was in Australia.
Well, you cook all the fat out of it.
Well, you can barbecue it, but it will taste like shit.
Because I was in Australia.
Slow barbecue.
And my friend Zach wanted to go out and shoot he wanted to go shooting and he wanted to shoot rabbits, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna fucking shoot a rabbit unless we eat it. Like, I'm not going to shoot a rabbit just for the sake of shooting a rabbit.
To feed a fox or anything.
Right, so we shot the rabbit, he did, and that's what we barbecued it. And it was awful. I couldn't eat it. It was so bad.
It needs a good solid 8
hours. It was awful.
Yeah. If you think of your fairy tales or your childhood fairy tales, you might not have had the ones about like Peter Rabbit or like, you know, McGregor's Garden and shit, and they're always about like stewing the rabbit. Like you gotta You gotta put it on.
That must be why I like rabbit, because I've only had it smoked. Like smoked rabbit is pretty good.
It's like kangaroo, man. Like kangaroo, fucking disaster, absolute disaster on a barbecue or anything like that. But if you have that in like a goulash or a ragu or a stew or casserole, whatever the fuck you want to call it, it's pretty good, man. Like if you give it like time. Venison, sort of the same. Either you ground and pound and make it like a burger, or you fucking slow cook those bad boys.
Yeah, I've had good venison.
Yeah, I've had really good venison.
Zebra.
I like elk though.
Where's my zebra?
Elk's fucking good. Have you had elk before? You live in the land of elk, or you lived in the land?
I don't know. It's same people I was talking about before. My family friends, Tom and Linda, like they.
Koreans big on elk.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No.
They go hunting and they. So I've had venison with them. I'm not sure if I've had elk, but I'm sure they've had it.
It's a really, really clean meat too. So, but it's like there's almost no fat in it, but it's good like that. Like it's a really good meat. So
those meats are really good to control, like to regulate. Like if you start with no fat, then I know it sounds a little bit disgusting, but then you can basically effectively imagine having like a big like bottle of fat that you can essentially regulate into the meat.
Decide how much fat you want to put in it.
Exactly right, because
you're
lean as a motherfucker.
It's
so
like
you're starting from nothing, and it's like, well, I want 10%.
It's like my grandma here that has the leftover lard on the side of her stove,
my
and
mom's
she
like
just
that, bro.
scoops it out, and that's what she cooks
exactly,
with.
bro. My mom.
So with elk or venison, you got no fat. You can choose however much you want.
That's what I do with my bacon.
Right, you gotta. So you start lean and mean, and you just. My
bacon fat every time. That's what I do. Like, if you want fucking serious eggs, cook with fucking bacon fat. Jesus Christ.
Well, that's the thing. Like steers, or bull, like castrated bull, or castrated male cow, whatever. Like fucking, like you're growing something you're in for the long haul. You're growing that bad boy for maybe 2 years, 3 years, whatever. And it's like you have to live and die by those cuts. Because you've kind of made this emasculated, like kind of feminized fucking bull, like a docile bull. Right. And it's like it's got a lot of fat content in there. Like it's lost its testosterone, it's lost its nuts, and it's like like it gives you kind of an immediate go or an immediate in.
Right.
But it's like you know what, like maybe just keep it real lean and then just kind of add.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right. Well, I think this podcast is done.
I want a ridiculous podcast.
Well, guys, thank you guys for listening. If you held out this long talking about fucking fat and shit. But anyways, please hit us up on theparrotcast.com. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and also iTunes. Shout out to Beer Geek. Mr. Mark, you definitely pour a fine, fine pint.
I actually think Mark might have had a birthday yesterday.
He did. Happy birthday, Mark.
Happy 41st birthday.
Is he 41?
No, I just made that up.
I'm
pretty sure he's early. I think he's pre-40.
I think he's 39.
Yeah, I think he's still holding on to that pre-40 thing.
He's got his final year.
That was my deliberate jab.
Yeah.
Jabbed him there. But yeah, no, 39, I think you're right. 38, 39.
Yeah, I think he's right around there. But anyways, sorry to spill the beans on your age there, Mark. But anyways, go fuck yourself.
Pink Dung cunt, come on up. Come to the Sheridan. Come say happy birthday to Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to check out some art, check out Young Art Taipei. They have a Facebook page. If you want information on it, go check it. Your fingers should work, unless you're paraplegic. But anyways, sorry, that was really dark.
Yeah, could be a tetraplegic, I guess.
Stop by the East Gallery.
Yeah, stop by the East Gallery. Shout out for Mr. Larry there. So, anyways, also you can also check out Larry Keedy on LarryKeedy.com. Or sorry, Lawrence. Sorry,
Katie.
Lawrence. Who the fuck is Lawrence Keedy?
Lawrence Keedy.
Keaty.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you spell phonetically, you'll know how to do it. But if you're spelling it Irish,
here's Lawrence.
So Lawrence,
Larry, right? Yeah.
So it's Lawrence.
So they call me at Hess.
That's right.
Kuza.
LawrenceKeedy.com. You can, I believe, you just monetized, right? You can now buy your artwork
you can buy my prints.
Nice.
Woodcuts and digital prints.
Nice. You can buy woodcuts and digital prints on
30 bucks to $150.
And pretty reasonable, folks. I've got a few.
And you can also go and tell Larry that he's a piece of shit. And you can also tell us that we're up to fuck all as well. If you prefer to like the negative angle, because that's fine. Yeah. It's not always Friday night. We understand that. Right. But right now it actually is Friday night, which is actually kind of like a sunny time of the week for me.
But if you're listening to this,
if you want to be negative and be Sunday and Monday about it, well then go do that shit.
If you listen to us on like a Tuesday afternoon, and you know you've been listening to Black Sabbath the whole week, like just leave us as nice as you can. So
give us 1 star. We know that. We love that.
Yeah. No. 1 star, any star.
You don't want the 1 stars.
No.
1 star.
Alright guys.
All good.
Take care. We love you. Take care. We love you. Take care. We love you.
I got drafted at 19. Me and a bunch of boys from home. January 43, we drove out to Pine Bluff and Sandown. Went to basic south of Birmingham. Put me on a West Coast bound train. Spent 3 days out at San Diego, and they shipped me back east again. Left a port out of New York. Slept for months in British rain. Tore it up down in London town, and they shipped me back